Hey, welcome to the Carrier Update with Zach Strickland, brought to you by PowerFleet. I'm Mike Vincent. What's going on, Zach?
Well, you know that increase in tender rejection rates we were waiting on to happen?
Yeah.
Well, we had one day of it yesterday, so we have a little bit of a tick.
There you go.
One day does not a trend make, but it did pop back up over 23%. Which, I mean, if you look at the chart, I mean, you can see that's actually a pretty significant little jump from that 22.6-ish that we saw. Again, you look at the seasonality here. This is kind of on schedule in terms of overall tender rejection rates increasing.
I mean, you do start to. Well, that's
Don't worry about 2020.
Let's not worry about. Yeah, I was gonna say no.
Did I just cancel 2020?
Well, I mean that uptick through July, right, into mid-July and then into August, then we start to see that dip after that.
Right. So this is not unusual.
No.
Although we're what 2 weeks away from July 4th, end of month. The interesting thing about it, though, demand didn't really change. So if we look at our outbound tender volume index, no, we actually don't have the outbound tender volume index next, but we do. But demand did not really change, I'll tell you that. It didn't change.
Take his word for it, folks. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, it didn't really change, but it has remained elevated. So
it has, but there wasn't a significant uptick.
No.
So is this a matter? When we look at Atlanta and we look at LA and we see that kind of ping pong, right? Atlanta goes out, and is that the big dogs losing?
Well, let's check it out. Let's check out our next thing. So this is our capacity trend and scores that we just released. Thank you.
I accidentally led you into that.
Shout out to Kirk Purcell for spearheading this. So again, these are our scores listed from 1 to 100. 100 being the highest score, meaning that's the tightest market.
Okay.
And then 1 being the loosest market condition. So I've got it over here listed from high to low. 98 in the Cleveland market. So, not coming from the areas
no
that you
capacity in Cleveland
traditionally think that would be super tight. But yeah, Cleveland. Then you got Dallas. Again, that's kind of like that one makes sense.
Kind of makes sense.
Buffalo, New York. And, these are markets that aren't necessarily huge in the overall scheme. And then you got Savannah. Denver's pretty tight itself. Denver's been a haywire market. So this screen over here, this side, is showing you from high to low the tightest markets in the country to the loosest. And you can see there's a lot of we don't even get through the screen here until you get down to 86. So,
but 86, I would imagine we're going to find out is quite elevated.
Yes, 86 is
98
tight.
is insane. It's like there's no trucks at all, and you're not going to see any for a month. So I mean, you're looking at. I mean, I'm looking at these in Atlanta, Quincy. I mean, Quincy, Illinois is indicative of Chicago, is it not? I mean, but you got Atlanta, you got Ontario over here, Harrisburg, Los Angeles. So you got some major people that are in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. Ontario, of course, they were up around 98 yesterday, so they've actually loosened a little bit.
The two largest are near 90.
Yeah, they're in the top 20.
Uptick in O-Tri, shocker.
They're in the top 20. So these are the markets where right now are the tightest ones in the country.
Gotcha.
Now, if you look over on your side of the screen, this is the direction. So these are the markets in the map there and down here. So these are the ones that are tightening the quickest or loosening the fastest. So
which color means what?
So anything in red, getting tighter. That orange to red, getting tighter. That's like And so a -3 to 3 is the scale on this one. And so that you see down here, you've got some -3s. San Diego, California. Fresno, California, tightening the most. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they're the tightest markets. It just means directionally, they are tightening the quickest.
They're tightening the quickest. Okay, so red is tightening more quickly.
Yes, exactly. And blue is loosening quickly.
Okay,
so
I got you.
You see our Denver market up there. We just talked about Denver over here getting a score of a 93. They've got a -2, I believe, on the scale over there. So, or -3, I should say, so they're tightening quickly, and they're one of the tightest markets in the country. So Denver is definitely a market to watch because they've been so volatile over the last little bit.
Yeah. And Cleveland, you see, is getting that's and Buffalo.
Cleveland and Buffalo.
Can you get more than 100% tight?
No, you can't. Okay. So let's check out the next one. I believe we got the Cleveland market to show you exactly what we're talking about here. So I've got OTVI for Cleveland and tender rejection rate for Cleveland right here in blue. The tender rejection rate, you can see, there's your tightening quickly.
Everybody left.
Yeah, they were probably one of the looser markets in the country, until just the last few days. So tightening rapidly, 25.83%. The interesting thing about this is that demand not really changing here, so it doesn't have a lot of support.
But it's that cross market, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it gets Columbus hits it. It actually gets Columbus hits it. Chicago hits it. I mean, it's not that far from those, right? I mean, it's kind of
no. Cleveland. This is your old stomping ground.
Yeah, it is.
So I mean, this is where you're from. So you know all about what's going on here, Cleveland. You know, it's kind of a consumer area, but it still has all that production sitting around.
Got a lot of production
around
it, and then just south of it is Columbus, which is massive distribution.
Exactly.
So its capacity gets messed with all the time with that market.
So it does look like things are starting to, it's tightening there, but it doesn't have as much support as it did back in March with the demand side.
Yeah.
So definitely a market that you don't want to be caught off high and dry. If you're a carrier out there, spot market activity on the rise. Demand, don't expect the contracted volumes to be the cause of it, though.
Yeah, don't expect that at all. Well, excellent stuff. Thank you so much for that, Zach.